Okay. So yeah, we just touched on what Recapture it is and what we do. What I want to talk to you about today is yeah, who's selling online and why, and also really how are they doing it. There's lots of different successful salvage and reclaimed building material businesses that have figured this out. What I was really curious about, is there a pattern of success there? Is it observable? Can you pull some of that data out and see what are they doing right? What are they doing wrong? And then also touch on, so that's really where I get into in the state of the industry. What percentage of businesses are doing this? How are they doing it? What are some of the patterns there? I'm going to talk briefly about e-commerce in general. What's so great about the business model anyway? There's a lot of things that are well known. E-commerce has been around for quite some time, but there's some subtleties of it on the cost side and on the revenue side that maybe and everybody might not know about. Then there's the different paths to e-commerce, where part of my fascination was also on the journey. How did these businesses get there? Which path did they take? There's lots of different ways to do it. Then we get into the marketplace fee breakdown. So there's a lot of marketplaces out there where you can sell salvage and reclaimed building materials. Some of them have really confusing fee structures. How do you make sense of it all? How do you compare it? I wanted to break that down as well and just make it kind of clear cut. And then talk about some other different ways to sell, newer ways that are out there. And some of the things that you think might be the same, but maybe are a little, can be a little different. So with that, we'll hop in here and keep going. Okay, state of the reclaimed e-commerce industry. So what I did is analyze over 260, I would call them reuse stores or salvage and reclaimed building material businesses across the country. Build reuse estimates there's well over 1,000, but I think 260 is a pretty good statistically significant sample size to be representative of the whole set. What I looked at was the physical square footage, online inventory, shipping, social influence, sales channels, and many other aspects of their business that I could observe either through their website or through what they sold or just in talking with them. There are lots of different ways to gather this data. And what I found was that about 1/3 of the industry is engaged in e-commerce. And I mean fully, and I should say qualify that, fully engaged. So fully engaged means they have products online, the transactions are happening online, they're shipping, everything is happening online. That's what I call fully engaged in e-commerce. All of those sales processes and management and customer service are automated via the e-commerce model. So you can see that highlighted in blue about the pieces of the pie that are in blue are the third that are engaged, and about 2/3 they're still they're just focusing on the brick and mortar solution. But within that, there's the do-it-yourselfers, the single marketplaces, and the multi-marketplaces. So most of the group that are engaged in e-commerce are doing what I call the do-it-yourself solution, the DIY, meaning they created their kind of in-house website. They're pursuing their own, doing their own marketing and management of of curating of their inventory. And then there's a smaller piece that are also 7% are approximately engaged in the single marketplace, meaning they have their own website, but they're also selling on maybe one of the marketplaces that are out there. And then about 2% are selling on multiple marketplaces, including their website all at once. They're more highly developed. The other thing I found was about 36% were shipping products nationally. So I think it's curious that about 1/3 of them are shipping, or 1/3 of them are selling online or fully engaged in e-commerce. A little more than that are actually shipping nationally, which means there's some businesses out there that aren't selling online but still are shipping all over the country. They're making their sales via telephone or other means. So I thought that was really interesting. The other thing I wanted to look at was what are the key channels? How are they moving their products? What are the patterns that are popping up there? So over 60% maintain items for sale online. So the whole industry they 2/3 of the whole of the industry at least has products, have products up on their website for sale. Now that means, they're not fully engaged in e-commerce, but they have products up on their website. They can, it's available. You can call and reserve it. You can call in and ask about it. You might do the transaction over the phone, take the credit card information, that sort of thing, then come over and pick it up, coordinate when the pickup is going to happen and how that's going to happen. But about 2/3 are doing that. They've digitized at least some of their inventory. Yeah, it could be click to purchase. 26% maintain less than 100. So about a quarter of the industry has 100 products or less. 5% have more than 2,000. So you can kind of get a sense of, well, okay, what's how many products is enough, or what should I have online to be kind of an attractive, to help build traffic and bring folks to my website. The other big thing that I noticed is that Instagram is very ubiquitous. Everybody, 72% of the industry uses Instagram, and what you see there, each one of those purple dots is a reuse store, and that's how many followers they have. So over the top 10% has more than 10,000. And so those guys they put a lot into it, and they do. You can take crazy advantage of Instagram to help push your products and grow your followers. You can post a product and put link in bio to buy, and it links back to your website. You can get very fancy with it. So if you have more than 10,000, congratulations, you're doing quite well. 25% have less than 1,000. That's okay. That's a whole quarter of the industry that have less than 1,000. They're not utilizing it so much. And the average is about 5,255. So if you're more than 1,000 or less than 10,000, congratulations. You're kind of swimming with the pack, I would say, as far as utilizing Instagram to help push, promote your brand, promote your products, push people, to whether it's your brick and mortar store or to your online presence. Moving on to what's so great about e-commerce anyway? So e-commerce has been with us for quite some time now, more than 2 decades. eBay started in the 90s. It's ingrained into our society in every way, pretty much at this point. I don't know when you don't, as much as I harp on, buying something on online, I cannot argue with the convenience. It is just too easy to point and click and have something shipped to you, even though I might pay a little more. But from the business perspective, the just innate qualities of the model is higher revenue. So you can be open to sell 24/7, 365, and that's really advantageous for a lot of the sellers in this industry. Are maybe open 1 or 2 days a week for sales, so they can really only showcase their products and sell their products a couple of days a week, because the rest of the time, they're either mom and pop, or they have a couple, a little bit of help, but most of their resources are and operations and labor are focused into going out and finding more, stocking the shelves. You can reach more customers, and you can reach the right customers. You can be much more. You can have, you might have a few hundred to a couple thousand people walking through your brick and mortar store a day. You can have thousands to tens of thousands to much more than that visiting your website every day. So the right customers is really key too, because you can key in a lot of the value in this industry is the right person recognizing the value in that piece or in that product. So being able to connect those two people is huge. Lower operational costs. So it costs a lot to staff the store and have people there. All those hours. That's why those usually the stores are only open, or not usually, but sometimes they're only open a couple of days a week, because it costs a lot to staff the store, do the retail sales, do the customer service, do the returns. If you're doing returns, most don't. So to have that additional labor costs quite a bit, and to have that physical presence, that retail space, whether you own it or you're renting, that's expensive. And then the insurance, utilities, and maintenance and other costs that go along with that, it's expensive. And then the other benefits that are kind of qualitative in nature is, physical location it becomes less important. So some of the salvage sellers I talk to, they have some really amazing stuff, but they're kind of they're not along the main, pedestrian traffic ways that they maybe wish they were, or they're kind of in an area of the city that, they're not attracting as many customers as they want, or there's just a little hard to get to, or there's some just, other things that are around them. So if you are online, physical location becomes so much less important. People can just either purchase and then come by and pick it up. You can do in-store pickup, or you just ship it to them. The other thing is, management metrics and data. So when you hire online, there's data streaming all the time, so you can track and improve your performance. What's selling, what's not selling, how much is it going for. You can get much better at pricing your items, because you just have that data available. It's being tracked. And then flexible work. You can do a lot of this if you're selling online. A big piece of it, and hybrid work schedules are becoming more attractive these days. You can do that from home. So you can have people that maybe have a hybrid work schedule that work for you, part of the time in the office, part of the time at home. So the couple of paths to get into e-commerce. So the first one I would talk about is the do-it-yourself. When I think about do-it-yourself, I immediately think of like the husband and wife couple that are doing the renovation, or maybe they're doing a remodel or doing a little renovation themselves. I did this with my wife not too long ago. It went okay. We learned a lot of things, but we did it. We made some mistakes. We figured it out. It was all right. But I also know I have friends that have done this and have done that as well, and they've also ran into problems. At the end of it, they're like, I will never do that again. I wish somebody else would have just, I wish I would have left it up to the professionals, or to a professional contractor or someone, because it didn't turn out how I wanted, and it was just way too much time. So those are the kind of two schools of thought. So I just wanted to touch on the pros and cons. So the pros of doing it yourself is 100% control of your brand and experience, and your customer experience. If you have a really powerful brand for your company, and you want to have complete control of how that's portrayed to your customers, and look and feel, and the experience, and part of the value that you bring to your customers. This isn't just the products, but it's the customer experience. Do it yourself is might be the way to go for you. The other big pro about this is market and customer behavior analysis. So you have more access to a lot more data. You can do some data analytics. You can have a team in house that will pull this data and analyze it and pull out amazing insights for you, and that can help you differentiate yourself and compete much better. So there are definitely pros to it. The cons are that it's just getting started. It's more costly, technical, and laborious. So it's even just to get things set up and get going, you got to learn a lot. If you're not familiar with website development and e-commerce, and what you need to measure and what you need to watch, and how the sales are all going to happen, and shipping, it takes the learning curve is steep right at the very beginning. It takes a little bit to get going. Then a lot of this, where I saw a lot of challenges that came after the fact when I talked with different salvage sellers, was that they got it going, but then they kind of just thought that was it. I got my things online, it's going, I'm done. And that is not it. So the internet is a very competitive place. You are competing for the attention of people with all of the distractions that are out there. So to get people to your website and to your products and to make a purchase takes a lot. So you're going to have to do the work to market and push customers to your website and make sure that everything goes smoothly and that they can purchase everything. That's a lot of work, and it's consistent work. It doesn't disappear. It takes eventually, over years, you can build up your organic traffic, and it becomes more self-sustaining. But at the very beginning, it takes a while. You got to be patient with it. And then there's just the ongoing digital management. So, you got to manage the security certificate with the website, or you're working with a third-party vendor to keep those things going and keep those things alive. So there's pros and cons to it. So moving on, we'll look at the other way to do it. So there's the do-it-yourself, and then there's the marketplaces, or I call them the bazaars. The picture you see on the left there is a marketplace out of Turkey, and the other one is a marketplace in Argentina. So you can just see it's your typical marketplace. There's store after store after store all lined up. There's hundreds of people walking through at once. They're looking at one store, they're moving on to the next. And try to imagine those pictures with just one store in there, right? One store, and then how many people would be walking through instead? It's just a completely different environment and ecosystem. But there's pros and cons to working with a marketplace as well. So the pros are, kind of the opposite of the cons for the others for do-it-yourself. The pros of working with a marketplace is it's simple and convenient to set up. You can get set up your store, get products online. You can literally be up and selling in a day. And then beyond that is that one of the big things, or the biggest value I think that a marketplace, a typical marketplace would provide, is they work to drive the traffic after that. They are working to drive traffic to your products and your brand and your store, as well as all of the other stores that are on the marketplace. The user interface and software are typically easy to use. They want businesses and sellers to be able to get on easily and interface with them easily and interact with their customers easily. And then the other, and I just touched on, is the thousands of buyers and a trusted brand. So if you're starting out and you're trying to expand into new sellers, can they use the if you're starting out, and you have a lot of new sellers and you're trying to reach, and they're not familiar with your brand and they maybe don't trust you as much, there's a brand there that they can already hop onto. The cons are for a marketplace is that multiple competitors on the same site. So that is absolutely true. You're gonna have more competition. There's gonna be somebody, virtually store right next to yours. They're gonna see your products, but they're also gonna see products from another store. That doesn't. It's absolutely true, but it's also not as in this industry. A lot of what's in this industry is more unique, so it's not as big of an issue within the salvage and salvage and reclaimed building material industry. So I would say it's there, but it's maybe not as big. And then the other big thing is, in traditional big marketplaces, eBay, customers may not know you're there. All the eBay and Etsy actually has kind of been in the news lately for this. They're not about pushing the brand or the your brand or your store. They just want to push your products. And so if you're trying to build valuable repeat customers, and bring them back again and again, that can be a little harder to do on a marketplace, especially the big ones out there. So moving on. So marketplace fee breakdown. So what I looked at was, where are these salvage and reclaimed building material sellers selling on? What are the marketplaces that I see? And I saw eBay, First Dibs, Cherish, House, Etsy, and Recapture It that they would typically work with. And the first way that marketplaces do take do need to make money as well. They're a business. The first fee that you typically will see or get as you work with a marketplace is the listing fee. So you will get charged a little something just to put something on the website. We don't want to load this store to sell on the website. Etsy's going to charge you 20 cents. The next one is the monthly fee. So you're going to get some kind of monthly fee that's typically going to come that ranges everywhere from $10 all the way up to $500. First Dibs, actually, I think it's $500 now. It used to be $1,000. And I know some sellers out there that are still paying $1,000 a month actually to sell on First Dibs. First Dibs is very difficult to actually get a hold of what they actually charge. They kind of have it behind a membership wall that you have to apply to even be on their marketplace at the beginning, and then they approve you, and then they'll tell you how much it costs. So it's kind of hidden in there. The other thing is commission. All marketplaces are going to charge some sort of commission. It can range anywhere from 5% all the way up to 17%. And then there's the promotions. So the promotions or fees or commissions, that's the pay to play. So, when you log on to any marketplace, you search something and you're going to get the products that you search for that the algorithm kicks out, but you're also going to get right at the top, you always see it, the advertised products. And those are vendors that are paying to make sure that their products pop up right at the top. And so they, that can be as cost per click, or you just pay so much per month, and so these are all these are much harder to kind of quantify, but in just talking with different sellers, how much they pay approximately, these are anecdotes from different sellers across the country on what they pay for promotions, fees, and these are optional. You don't have to do this. Many sellers, I would say most, don't participate in additional promotions or fees or commissions. Yeah, these are, eBay is more of your kind of, eBay is everything. You can put anything on eBay. It crosses all the different industries, products, whatever. First Dibs and Cherish are more focused on the kind of antique industry and furniture industry. House, it's kind of, it's a little different. They do have a marketplace on there as well, though. And then Etsy, I'm sure you're familiar with, is more focused on the artisan industry. But eBay is kind of a general marketplace. First Dibs, Cherish, House, Etsy, Recapture It, they're all what I would call, they're specialized marketplaces. So I just wanted to touch on the difference between a eBay, Craigslist, Facebook marketplace. Those are all general generic marketplaces. You could sell anything to anyone. Specialized marketplaces are a little different, and I just wanted to touch on that. So the advantages of specialized marketplace, you got the easy button e-commerce. That's going to absolutely be a part of that. But a big piece of it is the shared mission. A common goal. And I'm gonna this is where I'm gonna pander a little bit, and I am gonna promote Recapture It just a little. Is that for Recapture It, our goal is to preserve architectural history and stop excessive material waste. So partnering with a company that the goal isn't just to make money. The goal, the overlying values and the goals align with yours, I think makes a better partnership. I mean, it helps steer, what the marketplace is doing, and of course will help, more in the long run will coincide and partner better with the businesses that it works with. The other big thing is the niche customer reach. So better exposure and more loyal traffic because of a community and industry focused. Recapture It is 100% focused on designers, architects, contractors, do-it-yourselfers, landlords, the folks that are out there that are sustainably minded, climate focused, and looking for ways to lower the carbon, embodied carbon footprint of the projects that they're doing. Marketplaces, within specialized marketplaces within Recapture It, we want to help build your brand. It's not just about selling your products; it's about promoting and pushing your brand and your store just as much as your products. And that, other bigger marketplaces don't want to do that, we feel it's you just have to, in order to have a healthy partnership. It's okay to, if some people buy some things off the marketplace, great. If some people go to your own interior, in-house website and buy it, that's fine too. And the other thing is a tailored experience. A specialized marketplace has your customers more in mind, and so will offer options. And one of the main points of a tailored experience within Recapture is what we call the story of origin. It's the historical story or the historical story of where this piece came from. So if you salvage something from a local place, or a mansion from the early 1900s, just outside of the city, that has to be communicated as well. You can't just, the value is not just what it is, it's where it came from. So making sure that it's communicated to your customer is incredibly important. So with that's my presentation. So we touched on the industry. We talked about e-commerce and some of the advantages of it, the inherent to the business model. We talked about the different paths. You can do it yourself, or you can work with a bazaar or marketplace. Talked about the different fees, and we talked about specialized marketplaces, a different way to sell. So with that, I would open it up to any questions, discussion, dialogue, anything that anybody has. Thank you very much.